Hey, what's up, everyone? Dragging back again here to tell you that you should be reading Dinosaur Summer. So Dinosaur Summer is a 1998 novel written by Greg Bear and illustrated by Tony DiTerlizzi. Hope I said that name right. Sorry if I didn't. And basically serves as an alternate history to the classic Sir Arthur Conan Doyle novel, The Lost World. Basically, the OG dinosaur story that I'm sure most of you have heard, where a group goes down to the Amazon, South America, and find this plateau that's been kind of cut off from the rest of the world. And they up there, surprise, surprise, we have a prehistoric world, a prehistoric lost world, basically dinosaurs. Basically, it's kind of the story where King Kong took a lot of its inspiration from the idea of going someplace isolated and cut off from the rest of the world, where it's been kind of left unchanged by evolution. So dinosaurs, other manner prehistoric creatures. Now, basically, this kind of serves as basically what happens if the expedition had been a success, and the world found out about this place. They found out about the dinosaurs, and it basically just kind of takes place sometime later. Where since that time, people have been going up there. They've been taking things on and off the plateau. They've been taking animals off the plateau, and basically all over the world, you had these dinosaur circuses that were, these big draws for crowd. Basically, you can't bring everyone to the plateau, so you basically bring the plateau to the people. And basically now it's kind of been some time later, and now the interest in dinosaurs has started to wane. And it basically follows the last dinosaur circus, where after a few animals got loose and have been attacking people, and there's been a few incidents of other circuses, essentially they're thinking, okay, well, the return is no longer what it used to be. It's no longer worth the risk of keeping these animals. So let's just shut it down and bring these animals back to the plateau. And that's basically kind of this journey back up there. But that's basically the story on the surface. But ultimately, what the story is really about is kind of our quest for something new, something untouched. And ultimately, what happens when we get to finally touch it, when we put our hands on it? I mean, the idea of seeing a dinosaur is something with whether you like dinosaurs or not, whether you grew up enjoying them or not. If someone told you tomorrow that if you turned on the news, they were going to show you a living Tyrannosaurus Rex, everyone would tune in, because it's something that we have all grown up with, knowing once existed, but is no longer here. And because of that, it is something that is inaccessible. It is something that our imaginations have been allowed to kind of take and kind of almost deify. They have become the stuff of legend. Even though dinosaurs were actually real, we have turned them into creatures of myth and legend. Dinosaurs are now up there with dragons and unicorns because, like them, they are inaccessible. We can't get to them. We can't touch them. We can't interact with them. We can't experience them beyond our own imagination. So, there is a degree of mystique to them because of that. But what happens when we're able to find dinosaurs? A great example of this kind of idea is a recent film, Jurassic World, which I'm sure most of you have heard about, if not seen, which because it made all the money in the world. But it's this idea of all right, you clone a bunch of dinosaurs, you put them on an island, open a park, the world will flock. But what happens when you have a generation who grows up with dinosaurs in existence? What happens when you have a generation who, for them, dinosaurs have always been there? If they want to see a dinosaur, they can easily see one. They can go to one. They can, they are accessible, much like within the kind of this alternate history of this story. Whereas people have now grown up with dinosaurs. People have seen dinosaurs. They are no longer these mythic things that, only our imaginations can really, picture. You want to see a dinosaur? You could go to the circus. There's your dinosaur. And while being sure big and cool and interesting, ultimately, at the end of the day, you would see an animal. A big, impressive animal, if you're looking at one of the bigger ones, but ultimately still an animal. And like any animal would do what animal things do, it would have its behavior, it would need to eat, drink, sleep, it would need to, go to the bathroom. Once you really see this animal kind of living out an entire kind of natural life cycle, the magic might start wearing off. And for anyone who doesn't have an interest in, dinosaurs from a scientific perspective, ultimately, they would just become like any other big, cool animal. That's cool, but eventually that would be it. So what happens when the magic dies? What happens when, we have kind of essentially obtain that which we want? What happens when you reach the plateau? What happens when you find the lost world and you behold these amazing lost creatures for the first time? It is that moment that we are after. It is that instance that we yearn for. A good example or a good parallel, and this might sound kind of strange, but hang on, I'll explain, is almost like having sex. There's a build up, hopefully. There's an experience, and then finally you get to the crescendo, that moment you yearn for, and then it's kind of downhill after that. And nothing that happens after will be as enjoyable, as exciting, as fun as the build up to the potential of getting to that thing you want and then getting it and having it there in the moment. Nothing will ever be as good as getting there and getting it, basically. And that's kind of the human nature. We're always looking for the next horizon. We're always looking for our next plateau, our next lost world. That's what we're chasing, not necessarily the thing that's there. We are chasing the chase. We are chasing the hope of finding something that we have never seen before, or something we've always heard about but never were able to obtain, never able to see and touch, as like John Hammond in the first Jurassic Park film was described. He didn't want the illusion, he wanted the real thing. Well, as we've seen in this story and in Jurassic World, what happens when people do get the real thing? Eventually they get bored with it. As sad as that might be, that is kind of the human nature. It's exciting for 1 minute, and then the next day you're looking for the next great thing. That's kind of the human condition. We're never satisfied with just what we have. We get it, and then we have to find something more. We have to find that next thing. So it's basically an interesting kind of study into the human condition. We'd always look at these stories of like, what would it be like to find a lost world of prehistoric creatures? But no one ever really asked the question, all right, but what would it be like if we did find it, and we have it, and people can see it, and touch it, and experience? What then? Okay, we've got it. So what? I mean, if you told people tomorrow you'd see a unicorn is just a horse with a horn growing out of its head. It's really not that impressive, but people would flock to see unicorn because it's something they've always heard about, but were never able to obtain, never able to touch and see and experience firsthand. Dinosaurs would be no different, but eventually, in time, people would just kind of get bored with them. As sad as, not me, anyone who's a dinosaur lover out there and who has a love for science, paleontology, biology, zoology, paleobiology, etc., would probably always see dinosaurs, but we would be seeing them as kind of, the biological machines that they are. We'd be seeing them, as the evolutionary marvels that they are. But to the average person who doesn't give a damn about any of that, it would just be like, that's cool, what else you got? So Dinosaur Summer, that's kind of what it's really all about. It's more about us, really, than the dinosaurs. And that was something that was surprising when I read it way back when, because I saw, hey, it's a dinosaur book, has cool pictures of dinosaurs in it. James Gurney gave it a glowing recommendation. So I figured, cool. And I wasn't disappointed, but I was surprised, because The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle very much is that adventure story, that tale of finding that mythical place that we would all dream of finding. Whereas this is about kind of like, it's the next day. It's the hangover, if you will. It's that next after you have that great fun night hitting the bars with your friend, the thrill of it, how exciting and fun it is. And then you wake up the next day and you're just kind of like, all right, that happened. That's kind of what the story is about. It's the next day. It's the honeymoon's over, so to speak. It's people have settled in, and dinosaurs are kind of old news in a world where dinosaurs are no longer these extinct things from a bygone era. They're around now, and like anything else, they become the fabric of people's reality, and people will tend to take them for granted once we have something. So that's basically what this story is about, and it's really interesting because, again, when you look at the cover, you look at the artwork, you wouldn't really think of it more of a classic adventure story, and it is to a degree. There is a lot of adventure, there are a lot of thrills. It's very well written, and it's a great dinosaur story. But ultimately, it's about us. It's a reflection onto us and how quickly we are demystified by things once we've obtained them, once we can actually hold them in our hands, and then we look at them and realize that, like anything else in life, it's a thing, it exists, it's not magic, and it's bound to the same kind of rules of reality that all things are. And once we, consciously make peace with that, the magic is gone, you know. So it's kind of sad in that sense, but I don't want you to read this thinking it's going to be a sad. So not at all. It's a lot of fun. It's a thrilling story, and it's actually something I'm surprised hasn't been adapted to another medium by now, because I really would love to see this be turned into a movie or a series or anything else like that, because it is a cool story. But anyway, Dinosaur Summer. Have you read it? If so, what did you think? If you haven't, I'll leave some links in the description section below where you can pick it up, give it a read, come back, give me some of your thoughts, let me know what you think, because again, I always like to hear, what you walked away from. That was what I kind of took away from the story, but you guys might, have a different spin on it. But anyway, let me know. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Peace!